Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we are going to debunk the Whisperer theory. This is something that I am getting overloaded with messages on, and I thought let's kill this theory real quick and let's explain it. It does have something to do with something that's going to come up in Season 8, probably in the next 2 or 3 episodes, maybe even in the next episode. It has to do with this really ugly walker that Ezekiel commented on, and there's a reason he commented on it. You guys know I do my Analyzed, where we go in deep for each episode. Hopefully I'll get episode 2 out tomorrow. I mentioned this in the Analyzed video. It's almost done. I just got to finish editing it. However, there's so many people messaging me about this, thinking it's the Whispers for some reason. I thought, let's make a separate video, touch base on this, and that way you can listen to this if you're not interested in the Analyzed video. So here we go. The first image, this is the walker we're talking about. It's very important to notice the very distinctive fact that his skin is still on him. His clothing is burnt off, but not in a fiery way. It's eaten off his body, and there's very distinctive telltale signs of something that happened to his clothes as well. But let's pay attention to his skin, where it looks like acid of some type has splattered. See how it's all patchy where he got burned, but you can still see some of his skin. It's definitely not skinned. Look at his neck right here. See how the skin is melting off? And look at that huge friggin' blister. You can't miss that shit. Look at that disgusting thing. That is a blister. So that's one of the first telltale signs of the chemical burn. But however, there's more. So if you look at the front of this walker, it appears that some type of chemical got on his side of his face and then down the front of his body. It melted some of the chin skin is just hanging all down. Well, when he goes to turn, oh man, look at that. Oh, they did a great work. Look at that. His mouth and the teeth. Oh, he's a friggin' scary looking son of a bitch. But again, notice how it's half of the head and you see these little blister marks on his forehead. See it above his eyes? Now, if you watch it in motion in the episode, you can clearly see that it's a bunch of blisters from burns on his skin. And then if you look at the next image as he turns, his face is intact. So not much acid got on his face on this side, his left side. So the skin's all there, the hair's all there, it is fully intact. There's no hints or signs whatsoever of this Whisperer group, not at all. And then as he goes to turn, I want to highlight this here. Now this is one of the biggest telltale signs. What does that to your clothing? Bleach. Now, if you just typed in Google bleach, acid, stuff like this, you'll see a bunch of different articles where if you combine bleach with vinegar, you can get chemical burns, blisters, you go to hospital. There's also ways to make, there's something about chlorine too, and bleach and chloroform, like a whole combination of things you can mix and match, and if you breathe it in, it'll kill you if you're stuck in the room with it. There's ones where if you mix it with bleach, I believe it's the bleach and vinegar, you will get burns if you throw it on somebody. So shit like this is cluing us into the fact that this is almost definitely a person that got some type of chemical on them, and again, look at the other images coming up. These are splatter marks from some type of bleach that maybe didn't have enough of the acid on them. See how it bleached his clothing here? But maybe there was a little bit of bleach here with some burns, so it was the combination of the bleach and acid. When he falls on the ground, you can see it totally, the acid ate away his shirt, but the bleach stained in the certain areas where it ate away the shirt on the arm. It ate away the skin on his arm, and then his chest too got hit with a lot of that bleach acid mixture or whatever the hell it is. But the important thing to realize is the reason why Ezekiel brings this up is because somewhere down the line they're going to run into possibly more walkers burned like this. Here's an image that is possibly more walkers from the same area. And the reason I say possibly is because their face really looks blistered in a way. However, their clothes are perfectly fine. So either this one walker got, bleach and acid, and these walkers just got some acid, or they're not connected to it at all. But we do see Carol later on going to something that looked like a laboratory, something where they're mixing some shit together, and I believe this is coming up in the next episode, or maybe it's even a scene that's cut out of a previous episode. But I believe the reason why Ezekiel brings it up, oh, I wonder what befell this creature, is they're going to get to a place where maybe the saviors create weapons out of the chemicals, some type of weapons to burn people, or it's just a chemical factory where they're stationed at, and if there's any type of accidents or hazard wastes, somebody is going to get hit with this. So we should see some type of accident or chemicals either, used as weapons, or like I said, just materials laying around and something happens where people are reckless and a savior's burnt up or a good guy's burnt up. It's definitely possible, but I wanted to shoot this in the butt because there's absolutely zero evidence whatsoever that this is someone who was skinned. It's not a whisper. It's not an Easter egg of a whisper. I would just be dumbfounded if they came out and said this was an Easter egg of a whisper. We could clearly see the bleach on the clothing, unless you guys can come up with some other explanation for the clothing and the fact that his clothing was seared off him. If the clothing was burned off him like some type of acid, and then you can explain to me how his skin was intact and why anybody would want to skin him but only do it in a really patchy way. That just logically, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, unless you're going to try to tell me that they're going to practice on this guy, and as they're skinning him, it's real patchy and unusable. Keep in mind, the idea of skinning them is to make the skin wearable, and it's just not going to happen. So, yeah, this is a dud. I think this is one of those things where it's like, hey, look at this, because something's going to happen later on where someone gets a chemical burn or some type of acid on them, either a good guy or a bad guy. But other than that, there's just nothing else here. And again, I could be totally wrong. These are only my thoughts and opinions, but I strongly believe that this is just a chemical burn, and it is not the Whispers, and it has nothing to do with the Whispers. So, give me your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.